The Biden administration plans to fix the housing shortage, plus local news and the state of the Bluffton market with Adam Taylor. Stay tuned.
So, hey, Adam, have you looked at the numbers for Bluffton this week?
I have.
What are your takeaways?
Well, I know inventory is starting to pick up a little bit, not as much as last week, but it's promising for the housing market a little bit for people trying to get in, especially to Bluffton.
Yeah. My concern right now is if we look at inventory, the year-to-date numbers, the inventory is down less now than the sales.
Right.
Which, to your point, yes, there's going to be more opportunity for people to buy, but the reality is, it seems like less people are buying right now.
Yeah. We've seen, I think from our team and everybody, we've seen demand, kind of trickle down a little bit. Interest rates has always been a big topic in the news, so I think that has maybe a little something to do with it. If people can't afford the amount of house that they're wanting to buy, and the economy is always a thing, so that's kind of scares people away.
People are getting a little nervous, right?
A little bit. Shake it in their boots.
Yeah, they don't like uncertainty, do they? I know you love uncertainty, but general public, they don't like uncertainty too much.
No.
So let's get into some headlines. Did you see that the town of Bluffton, believe it or not, in today's world, they're saying they're not going to increase millage rates. In a world where everything is going up, the town of Bluffton is looking at their budget for 2023 and they're saying we're not going to increase our millage rates.
Yeah, I think I read because the increase in population was over 20%, I think, last year. So
they got more people contributing, so they need to take less from each person.
Right. As we talked about before, that speaks until next year, where assessments are due. And
that's for the county.
That's for everybody, yeah. And that's every 5 years? Right?
Every 5 years. Last assessment was in 2018.
Yeah.
The actual went into effect in 2019.
Yeah.
The good news is, thank goodness there's a cap, right?
15%.
15%, right?
So that's good.
If you got a house that was $500,000, 3 years ago, and it's up to $1 million, it's not going to go up to $1 million valuation. It'll be capped at 15% of its previous value. But next year, they can all count.
Yep.
Taxes are going up. Property taxes are going up.
So it's good for this year.
It's good for this year. Well, I mean, this is next year's budget, so maybe there's a little bit of a saving grace there. Belfair. Did you hear about Belfair?
70,000.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to Bluffton, aren't they?
No, they said we do. We make our own rules.
Yeah. So they're increasing their POA fee, their initiation fee, not the POA fee, from $40,000 to $70,000. That's pretty healthy.
They're also seeing a high demand for Belfair community, and that was kind of their reasoning behind the increase, along with several other improvements, like I know maintenance to their west course that's in there. They have two golf courses.
$5.6 million refurbishment of one of the golf courses. And do you think they've mistimed this a little bit between you and I? Just between friends? So. Nobody's out there?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think it's going to be tough because I think 4 or 5 years ago, those communities, the big deterrent was that stipend to get into the door.
Yep.
And, as they've all kind of competed now here to see the race to the top, I think they've overextended.
Well, there's been so much demand and so little supply for a period of time now that, it wasn't long ago that there were several communities that you could get a piece of property for $1.
That's right.
Just to take over the dues.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that all of these changes that are happening in the economy and inflation, running rampant across the board, whether it's gas prices or initiation fees, the cost of everything is going up exponentially. And I hope it's not too much.
Yeah, I hope they didn't bite off more they can chew. I hope it just doesn't halt the progress of Belfair.
Yeah, it's a great community. It would be a shame to see things slow down. Not that it may be fine, right?
Yeah. Well, we thought it was crazy when they went to 40. Like those communities went to 40, like, well, that's way too much. Yeah. And then it didn't really change the appetite for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just going to depend on what happens with the overall economy.
Yeah.
And then finally, the Biden administration announced a plan to create more affordable housing. Did you get a chance to see anything about that?
It's good. I think they're pulling out every effort they can to kind of make the housing situation better for everybody. Second home property owners, which is huge in our market, and then also first time home buyers.
My takeaway from it was, they know they need to do something and they're going to be really aggressive. I see some big opportunities in here for investors that want to provide and build out that affordable housing. So I think it's going to create some opportunities for those that pay attention to give what's going to amount to giveaways. Right? Huge incentives and giveaways to create more. But, there's other options, and this isn't just the first time home buyer. Right. There are other options out there to create more inventory. Companies, in the private sector like Pacaso. Yeah. So anything that we can do to put more properties into the supply, more opportunities into the supply is going to help all segments of the market, I believe. And a company like Pacaso, what they do is instead of you buying, Wealthy Adam buying a second home on the beach in Sea Pines, right, and that house sitting vacant 9 months out of the year, we can create more supply by bringing those people together and sharing this housing crisis.
Yeah, it's not good to have your house sitting vacant for all that time.
Yeah, that's true too, right? Like a house that just sits unoccupied is not a good thing.
We've been in some of those, and you can tell. So yeah, it's good. Hopefully there's something to come of it. Yeah.
Well, all eyes will be on this plan once they release more details to see, what kind of an impact it will have and whether it will come soon enough, right?
Right. It could be too little, too late. Yeah. But yeah.
Would you mind sticking around for a minute while we answer the mailbag questions that have come in this week?
Yeah, for you, anything.
All right. So the first one, Peter asks, what do you think would be better for the island, extending the bridge to 6 lanes or making a second bridge? I think neither. I want them to build a tunnel.
Just underground.
Yes. There's nothing be more aesthetically pleasing than not seeing it, right?
That's true.
I'm not a traffic engineer or whatever kind of person would make that decision.
You think you're splitting it no matter what. It's the same.
Yeah. Either way. Aesthetically, I think I'd rather see one nice, beautiful bridge.
Yeah. I agree.
Next question is from Greg. Normally, if home prices go as high as they are in Bluffton, I would expect a bunch of new housing to go up to cash in. Meaning, I think you're saying go to come up for sale. Prices have gone up. A bunch of people are cashing in. But construction is really expensive and inflating, and I don't see that happening. So what will cause the housing supply to increase? Fears of a recession.
Yeah, a little bit. I have fears of a recession. I think that's always the big scary term.
Yeah.
Right now. But
you've heard me say this is not a bubble.
Right.
This is not what happened last time, and it's because so many of the buyers over the last 2 years are end users, whether it's a second home end user or a primary resident end user. Yeah. There's been a big conversion from second home to primary. So people that have had a second home here have converted it into their primary residence. Yeah. And I think Greg hits the nail on the head. It's why there is not going to be a bubble. Right? Because if you live in your house, recession or not, you need a place to live. So what are you going to do?
Right.
Sell it and rent?
Right.
You think real estate prices are crazy? Like rent prices are stupid.
Just as high.
Yeah, it's worse.
Yeah.
It's worse. And when you rent, you're still paying a mortgage. You're just paying somebody else's
mortgage,
right?
On top of everything else.
Yeah. So. The market crash last time was a result of the speculative nature of the majority of the buyers at the time.
Right.
Those people were getting loans, many of them that they shouldn't have gotten. This is so different.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think there's a bubble. So I don't think we're going to see a bunch of inventory. We're going to see a little bit more. We're going to see less transactions, sales slow down, and kind of just a normalizing of the market.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
There's something I was reading too about, these big investors buying a lot of these houses and taking these homes and buying them in blocks. And those homes aren't going to come back to the market. Those are portfolio building homes, right? Yeah. So like inventory won't come up in that sense. And whether that's 2, 5, 10 years down the road, but it's they're going to trade portfolios. They're not going to put those houses back up for resale. So there's another tick down of it.
Yeah, because these investors have seen that they can really earn a profit by renting these properties. So they've been buying them in huge blocks, including that Jeff Bezos guy.
Oh yeah,
I hear he's been buying up stuff like crazy.
What does he do?
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Weren't you hanging out with him this weekend?
Yeah. I was on the yacht.
So somebody has a question, Adam. What should they do? How should they get their question to me?
There is a link in the mailbag.
In the mailbag?
Yeah, go in the mailbag
and find
the link. There's a link in the description for the mailbag. And in there, you can put your question and we'll see them next week for sure.
We'll answer them next week. We'll see them before that, but then we'll answer them next week.
Maybe.
Mr. Taylor, thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
Thanks for providing us this valuable insight.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for butchering the mailbag portion of the segment.
I'll get off my stool here.